Songs and Sit-Downs, featuring Owen Dara. And now, Owen Dara.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Okay, I was smiling because that just brings me joy. That tune brings me joy by J.J. Shock. And I thought, oh, I better get serious. But then it cut to me that I wasn't quite serious yet. But good evening and welcome to Songs and Sit-Downs. And thank you so much for joining us on this, our 14th show in the series. As always, we're very, very happy to have you with us, especially in times like these. You know, this past week, like many recent weeks, has been rather unsettling, to say the least. COVID cases are up, peaceful protests are being policed, and we even had an earthquake here in Southern California. But thankfully, there have also been some positive events as well. As I'm sure you've heard, there was a successful rocket launch which sent a brand new rover on a 7-month journey straight for the planet Mars. And of course, during normal times, we'd all be very excited about this, but during current times, many of us, frankly, are just plain jealous that we're not on a 7-month journey straight off the planet. But maybe that's not too far away. I mean, perhaps one day there'll be an opportunity for us Earthlings to go live on Mars, and if that happens, even though the atmosphere up there has been proven to be extremely toxic when consumed by humans, I guarantee you there'll be still a whole bunch of friggin' idiots refusing to wear a mask. It's going to be a different world, of course, when that happens. Online shows like this will become interplanetary. And even though that's probably far, far, far into the future, I wouldn't be surprised if our leader here at Divine Rebel Music, Dolly Ramirez, isn't working on a plan for that right now. With her tenacity, creativity, and work ethic, I wouldn't be surprised if there's actually an intergalactic plan in place for this show, even for galaxies that haven't even been discovered yet. But you know, I shouldn't talk about her behind her back, so we should just cut to Dolly and say hi so we can talk about her to her face. That'd be a lot more fun. Let me say a quick hi to Dolly and JJ over there in Van Nuys, which I think is still part of this galaxy, although the way things are going, you never know.
Funny.
You know, the universe is expanding and the planet, various cities in the LA region may be drifting further and further apart as time goes on.
It's been known to happen.
Yeah, and I think because, you know, we've been locked down, what, is it going into 5 months now almost?
Yeah, it sounds about
yeah,
right.
Who knows what's going to eventuate. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but your hair is turning blue, Dolly.
It's the environment.
Yeah, I think that's part of the environment, and things are changing radically. And JJ, your hair is looking fantastic.
Thank you.
It seems like it's got that effect of blowing in the wind, even though there's no wind. That's what you want to get.
How are you, Owen?
You know, I'm good. I'm just excited to do the show. Monday night I always look forward to because I feel like I'm among friends because we never see anybody anymore.
I know.
And, you know, occasionally you see a neighbor go by and you keep distance and you're talking in masks, you know, and it's just, you don't know what the person is saying. You know, they could be insulting you and you can't read their lips.
No, you can't.
And you know, they're not close enough to you to like be able to throw a punch at them if they say so. It's just not the same. But this is good. So Monday night we get to hang out, we get to chat.
Are you in the habit of going around punching people?
Yeah, exactly. And how are you guys doing?
We're good.
Yeah.
Good.
Just always busy.
Yep.
Trying
Yes.
to keep busy. Yeah.
That's true. How's the
yeah.
intergalactic, variety show working out? The plans for that are in motion, I hope.
We're still trying, you know, everything we can to make it better and better and better. I'm not ready to take it to another planet yet, but
Oh yeah, that's just a few weeks away.
that's a lot of work.
Lot of work.
But
Well,
what? Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say we don't have any YouTube subscribers on other planets. The only ones we can
I
get really
know.
are on this planet.
That's right. So for now, we're going to focus on the ones on this planet.
Good.
Sorry, I'm looking for a banner right now while I'm talking to you, because we want to say that.
Oh, that's
Everyone,
great.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for getting us to at least 100 subscribers. We're now over that number, and we want to aim higher. We would love to get to at least 1,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but if every single person does this, right, it all adds up and eventually we're there. But that would help us start monetizing on the show. And we would love that. Right now we ask for tips so we can help, throw some money towards the musical artist and also help us along as we, work really hard to make the show happen. So, but at some point we would love to be able to monetize on this. That would be great.
And getting 1,000 subscribers on Divine Rebel Music and on Owen Dara Music YouTube channels will actually help us with that, because then YouTube will be paying us for actually doing the show. And
That's
there
right.
it is up on your screen in your comments, youtube.com/Divine Rebel Music and youtube.com/Owen Dara. And we are trying to reach 1,000. We don't expect to do it by the end of the show tonight, but
No.
but if you can get us just a little bit closer, we would really
Yes.
very much appreciate that.
So I'm going to go ahead and post these links, everybody, in the comments. If you could please just click the button and subscribe to both of ours, that would be wonderful. That would help us so much. So I'm going to do that now. Okay?
Well, thank you so much, Dolly, and thank you, JJ, for everything you guys do, for bringing us all together every week and beyond, and we'll chat to you again soon.
Okay. See you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. Always a joy to see them. I have more conversations with them than just about anybody these days. That is a positive thing in many ways. Now, tips, as Dolly said, we created this show, Songs and Sit-Downs, in part as a means to fill the deficit created by the lack of live work available for artists as a result of COVID-19, which you might have heard of. And as you know, we have a very hard-working team. All happen to be artists ourselves, adversely affected by the ongoing closure of music venues. And as I always say, we very, very much appreciate your being here. But if you so choose, and if you have the means, all tips are appreciated, and they help support our musical guest as well as our hardworking team. And if tipping is not within your means, of course that's fine too. We're just more than happy to have you with us. So thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate your tuning in this evening. Now, we should talk a little bit about upcoming shows. Now, we do this every single week. We talk about all the live shows that are happening around Los Angeles and Southern California and beyond. And I have a sheet here with all the live shows written out. And that's it right there. There are no live shows, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've tuned in for the first time, you might get a little giggle out of that. But if you're tuning in for the 14th time, you will realize that we do that same joke every single week. And it's pretty old. It got old by about week 4. This is week 14. We will continue to do that until such time as we're all back out enjoying live music and playing live music. And of course, we have Facebook Live shows coming up. And we're going to tell you a lot about those later on, much later in the show. But I should actually mention now that, especially for the musicians out there, on Sunday, August 9th, at 7 p.m. we're going to have the second Sunday Songwriter Series. Now in that, we usually have it earlier in the day. We're going to have it at 7 p.m. because it's going to be a shorter show because we're just doing the open mic. So that's plenty of opportunity for people who want to submit videos and be part of it. And we've had some great acts over the months that we've been doing this online, submit videos. So, it could be an original, it could be a cover, whatever you want to submit. We'd be happy to play it. Just go to divinerebelmusic.com/open mic and all the details are there. Now, we should talk about our sponsors. Now, we had an ongoing joke about our sponsors also. A word from our sponsors. And then I go, blah. Well, I wouldn't be that dramatic. I go, here's a word from our sponsors. And then nothing would come up on the screen. And then I go, oh, that's right. We don't have any sponsors. And of course, why did I say sconsors? I was thinking of scones, maybe. We don't have any sponsors. But it turns out, now, strangely, we kind of do. We're actually getting some help from an Irish-American organization called Irish Arts and Entertainment. And they've been supporting us by sharing our ads and including us in their publicity of events going around Southern California. And since we've started to partner with them, they're kindly offering to our friends and viewers, by way of a discounted subscription to their always entertaining and informative digital publication, which includes membership to the Mighty Irish Network. There you have up on the screen, that's just the July issue there. Lots of good stuff in there. And last week we said, because last week was the first time, we said you could subscribe at a reduced rate for only $25 for a whole year. But today, we just got an email this afternoon, in fact, probably about 3 hours ago, and it said that we can go ahead and offer a show special for only $20. So, okay. So if you subscribed last week, you paid $5 extra. But if you subscribe this week, $20. And I think that's as low as they can go. I mean, don't think it's going to go down $5 every week and then they're going to be paying you, by September. I don't think it's going to work out that way. But please check it out. And also, if you're a senior or a student, they're the discounted rate of $12. It's pretty cool. And that will entitle you to a number of benefits. Not only will you get the new issues for the publication as soon as they come out, you'll also be included in a free drawing almost every week, which means you could win tickets to Celtic events, Celtic related products, have access to special offers in the Southern California area. And next week's drawing is a $50 gift card actually a $50 gift certificate from the Irish Import Shop in Hollywood. And that is a great establishment run by a fella, there it is on your screen, a fellow by the name of Tom McNamara, who just does a great job representing the needs of the Irish here in Southern California, and also lovers of all things Irish, as he imports all these Irish food and goodies and everything from Ireland. It's well worth a visit if you're ever in the area. Well, probably not now, but when the COVID whole thing ends, heading into that shop and just having a look around and having a chat to Tom, it's always a good experience. I always enjoy doing that. There's also special offers 2 for 1 for certain restaurants and events and fare, and you can check them out by you can email them actually at mightyirishnetwork@gmail.com, or you can give them a call at 951-216-1493, and I think Dolly's going to put that in the comments, and they'll send you an invoice. And for $20, if you mention this show, you can join up. I just joined up myself a couple of weeks ago, and I'm hoping to win that $50 gift card so I can double my money, because I paid $25. You guys are lucky. I had to pay $25. All right, moving on. We're so excited to have a sponsor, and if you're out there and you want to be one of our sponsors, please be a sponsor, and we will chat about you too, and all those great things. And we do appreciate everybody who has tipped us and who supports the show just tuning in. Okay, moving on. We're going to get to it because we have some fantastic guests joining us tonight. In just a little while, we're going to be going all the way to Nashville, Tennessee to meet an incredibly talented, prolific, and multifaceted artist named Timmery. She is blessed with the talent and the ability to thrive in many different forms of artistic expression, including fine art, fashion, jewelry, writing, and music. She also has a strong work ethic and a very keen business sense. And on top of all that, she's got a wonderful personality. So I know you'll very much enjoy meeting her and learning about her work and hearing about the interesting life and artistic journey that she's had. That's Timmery, coming up just a little later in the show. And then afterwards, we'll be going all the way to Crosshaven, which is a beautiful coastal town in County Cork, Ireland. We'll be meeting with our fantastic featured musical guest, Billy Kennedy. He's a very talented multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter whose brand new single, Giant, was just released today. Yeah, August 3rd. So, it's already been a very busy day for him, and we're honored that he's taking the time to chat with us and play some of his music for us this evening, especially considering it's just after 3 a.m. where he is right now. So, most likely by the time we finish with him, it'll be after 4 a.m. his time. So we look forward to having a chat with him and to hearing his story and hearing his great original songs all the way from across the Atlantic as he keeps his neighbors awake in the middle of the night for our entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Songs and Sit Down. So please do stay with us for that. But first, we're going to go to one of our favorite weekly segments. This is written and presented by Jessica Lancaster, our wonderfully positive newsreader, who uplifts us every single week with the positive stories she finds and she shares with us. Here to bring a smile to our faces yet again this week, this is On the Upside with Jessica Lancaster.
Happy August, everyone. It is hot out there. Holy cow. Hope you had a good weekend. I know I did. Now for some good news. I have 2 Guinness Book of World Records for you today. Who doesn't want to be tall? I know I would like to be just a couple inches taller. Well, meet Forrest. He just claimed the world record for the world's tallest animal. He stands at a staggering 18 feet 8 inches. Wow, that is a whole lot of giraffe to love. Now for a very important Guinness Book of World Record, one you probably have never heard of before. Meet Evan Bletcher. He is 14 years old and he holds the record for the fastest solving of a Rubik's Cube while hopping on a pogo stick. But this young man does not stop there. He started a course called Cubing Away Corona, and he is teaching others in a socially distanced way how to solve a Rubik's Cube in under 3 minutes. Now, I can solve a Rubik's Cube in about never. I can never solve a Rubik's Cube. So I probably need to take his course. But he's also donating 100% of the profits if you would like to donate. It is a free course, but if you want to donate, he donates it to the CDC Foundation and No Kid Hungry. Bletcher says that the course was dreamt up as a way to both relieve the boredom of staying home while helping out families who've been hit hard by the pandemic. What an awesome way for a young man to use his amazing skills for others in need. Now, for the ultimate best friend story. Tom Cook and Josephine shook hands in 1992, and they promised that if either of them ever won the Powerball lottery, they would split the money. Well, turns out that Tom is a man of his words. Over 20 years after the handshake, he won $22 million in the Powerball. And when Tom called his bestie to give him the good news, he couldn't quite believe it. He said, and I quote, "Are you jerking my bobber?" The men chose the cash option of about $16.7 million, leaving each of them with nearly $5.7 million after taxes. I think they, might be able to retire in comfort. Speaking of friendship, it's more important now than ever to help one another. And I think I found the perfect video to represent this. Check it out.
In the world trying to find me a better way. Wishing I was deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze and it don't seem fair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise.
All right, guys, that's it for me. If you have any good news that you would like to share, please pass it along our way and we will share all that love. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and a great week to you too. You deserve it so much. I was excited there when she said, there's a great story about 2 Guinness, and I was like, Guinness? You had me at Guinness. You didn't need to go any further, but it got even better than that. Guinness Book of Records and that lottery story and the dogs, everything, every week, just bringing a smile to our faces. Now, if you want to bring a smile to any of your friends' faces and you want to host a watch party on Facebook, you can actually do that on your page and invite people to come and watch this show with you. And when we were talking earlier to a friend who was doing that, we were very excited about it. And we were thinking, well, that's actually a great idea. Why don't we invite people to do that? And the more the merrier, as we always say. Now, speaking of bringing a smile to our faces, our first guest this evening, Timmery, will certainly do that. She has been described as a true force to be reckoned with, someone who has no difficulty embracing her out-of-the-box creativity, her inner sparkle, and her love for everything color. She's managed to pursue all of her life passions, including art, fashion, music, and writing. She graduated with a fashion degree from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, Los Angeles, and she's also a graduate of the Los Angeles Recording School. She has designed clothes, run a jewelry line, written a children's book, created fine art, and is also a musician, having performed her original music at some of Hollywood's hottest venues and underground events. She's the creator of the Sugar, Art, and Fashion Show, through which she and her team have successfully completed 2 national art and fashion tours and produced over 100 art, fashion, and music-based events across the US in over 20 major cities. She also writes a column for Tinsel Tokyo magazine and has been contributing writer for several other publications, including Shock Value magazine and Nashville's The Connect magazine. All of this we would like to speak to her about, and more. So please welcome the wonderful Timmery.
Hi, Owen.
Hi, Timmery. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. How do you have energy for anything else with all you do?
I don't know. Honestly, I was just sitting here before I got all done up, and I was like, I'm so exhausted. But I always find the energy.
Well, that's right. The show must go on, and when we're live, I find the adrenaline kicks in because anything could happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I love your background. It matches pretty much the rest of your life as I've seen it online.
Absolutely. 100%.
Now, not only are you an artist, but you also have this great business prowess. Not many artists have both. Do you have a formula for that? Have you got any secrets you can pass on to us that'll get artists more business savvy as you are?
Well, I think the main thing is writing everything down, making lists,
Mm-hmm.
and just balance. Honestly, I'm a Libra though, so I'm all about balance. So I
Ah.
have to make sure that I get the business done, and then I
Uh-huh.
also make sure to feed the creative side of myself. So
Yeah.
lists, do it.
Well, it's great. So basically, where we all went wrong is not being born Libras.
Yeah, basically.
It's so
Sorry
funny
about
because
your
I
luck.
I know very little about astrology. I know I'm a Gemini, so we always get a bad rap,
Yeah.
and so do a lot of others. But I always hear Libra is the good thing. Like I had this friend who I think was a Taurus, but used to pretend she was a Libra because they got good press.
Yeah, I can understand why. I actually like Geminis. I've always had great rapport with Geminis. Almost every sign except for Scorpios. But my daughter's a Scorpio, so I love them now.
Oh, that's great. Well, you love Geminis thus far, but the interview isn't over, Timmery, so anything
This
could
is
happen.
true. This is
This is
true.
true. Now, I wanted to ask you about the Sugar Art and Fashion Show. By the way, you had me at Sugar, like I said with the Guinness before. You had me at Sugar as soon as I read that. Now, can you tell us a little bit about that and how that came about?
Yeah, so that started happening in about 2009. My friend Tom or I think he still does, he produces a show called Pancakes and Booze, although
Mm-hmm.
he probably doesn't do it now because of COVID. But so I got inspired by that show. It was this underground show and like a warehouse and like a super seedy part of town. And just like the energy of it was so cool and different. And so he kind of was my mentor in creating my own show. I wanted to do one for all women creators. And so thus Sugar was born, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And eventually we took it on the road.
Wow,
But
that's great. And I mean, you have a network of something like 3,000 people that are involved in this. Is that right?
yeah, at the time, I no longer do
Wow.
Sugar, but that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments. I'm going to take my earrings off because I know they're clickety clacking. I'm really sad about this because they're really cute earrings.
I know,
But
I love your earrings, but I was enjoying the percussion. I'm like, you're a musician, you can talk and you can like keep the beat at the same time. It was pretty
that's
cool.
true. But I don't think Dolly will appreciate it. And I have my husband messaging me too. Anyhow, so yeah, so I built this network, and it just grew. And now there are people that I still can network with. And I work with a lot of people still, even though Sugar is no more. We've
Hmm.
created this long lasting network of creative people that we can all count on, which is pretty amazing.
And it's great that you were inspired by the underground because I know you did when you were playing music in LA, you kind of were like at underground events. That's sort of your thing, really? You like to live in the underground?
Um, I don't want to say I like to live there, but I definitely appreciate it. I feel like you can
Uh-huh.
get away with more there. The
Good.
creativity is a little bit more raw
Yeah.
and edgy, and yeah,
Hmm.
so I appreciate that element of it. But I want to live outside of the underground.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have your family life too, but your Timmery artist life. I mean, I'm like you too. Anything underground or just like off the beaten path, especially around LA when you go down to the arts district and stuff, and there's somebody having a party somewhere, and we don't really have basements here, but they find warehouses and stuff, and it's like they turn it into
Yeah.
something, and it's really cool. They have a band that you've never heard of, but you love just because they're there, and your art. So when you were doing your art and exhibiting and all that, what sort of crowd were you attracting?
Well, I honestly didn't really start my art until I moved to Nashville in a real
Oh.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that, I was doing fashion and accessories, which is art, but it's different art,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fashion shows. So when I moved to LA, I decided that I wanted to just do an online business, though, because I'd spent so much time producing events and I was around so many people all the time. I was
Mm-hmm.
so burnt out. I didn't want to see
Yeah.
anybody. And so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like crawled in my own hole in a bubble and I just created my online business. And I would go and do like events downtown Nashville or farmers markets and things like that. But that's
Mm-hmm.
about it. But for the most part,
Well,
I stayed in my bubble.
well, it's certainly the season for staying in your bubble this time. So, you did it at the right time. And of course, your company is also called Timmery. We
Yes.
should tell our guests that. And are you writing too? I mean, I said in my intro, you write for a number of publications. Are you busy with your writing?
Well, those are all past publications that I wrote for. I don't
Mm-hmm.
write for any publications right now. Though I only write children's books. I had a
Mm-hmm.
daughter 2.5 years ago, so she's
Cute.
inspired a new endeavor in me, I guess. So she one day was just asking me over and over again where her pink boots were. And, Mommy, where's
Mm-hmm.
my pink boots, pink boots? And I was like, oh my God, there's a book in here somewhere. So I wrote it in like 10 minutes. But illustrating it, of course, took a lot longer. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And it's fun for me and it's fun for her to kind of see her life come into story form. So,
Yeah, wow. I'm just getting a message to turn my speaker just down a bit because I guess you're hearing a little bit of an echo. Um,
oh,
so what's great is that you have her first of all as a muse, and I guess
yes.
her color must be pink then. Is she obsessed with pink?
She is obsessed with pink. Although she's starting to say her favorite color is rainbow, which is amazing for me being her mother. So,
Well, what I'm saying is like just looking at your background, I have no idea where she could have got that idea that rainbow could be a color.
no idea.
But it's certainly very inspiring, and I came across when I was of course stalking you as and there is Nova. Oh my God, she is so cute.
Ah, there she is. Thank
Wow, so you
you.
said she's 2.5, and she's already
She
saying
is.
rainbow's her favorite color. I love it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I came
Little
across some pictures, and
Spitfire.
actually we may have them. You did a series where you painted drag queens.
Yes. Yes, Queen. Yes.
Yeah, and there was quite a variety. So there's one of them. We actually, so now, okay, so was this an actual person that modeled for you?
No, it was I found an image. So what I do is I'll scan Instagram and I'll find the most fabulous drag queens, and
Mm-hmm.
then I will draw them.
Wow, yeah, that's really cool. And there's a whole series of them that you did, right?
Yes, this is true.
Now, tell me a little bit about. Oh, there's another one. I love that one.
Lucy's
So
stool.
very cool. As you know, as I said, as I was about to say earlier before that came up, is each week when I have a guest, I have permission to stalk them, for hours on end, and what I came across for you, it's just so eclectic and interesting, and
Oh,
it's just
thank
been an
you.
absolute joy discovering you and your love of color, and it's made me wonder why me and my surroundings are so drab in comparison. I think maybe I need to get something back here and make it a little bit
Absolutely.
more colorful.
I'll come paint your walls for you. Big
Oh, that
rainbow.
would be fantastic. Now we have witnesses because this program is recorded, so I'm going to take you up on that, Timmery. Now tell me a little bit about Timmery Fest.
Okay, so obviously at the height of the lockdown, and I realized things aren't going to change
Hmm.
for a while. And because it was at the beginning of festival season. And so I
Hmm.
had this whole spring and summer planned out where I was going to do all the Pride festivals, which is my favorite, and just be out there selling, selling, selling. And I had to get creative. I had to, think out of the box. So I decided to do an online 12-hour festival with me doing all the things that I do. And
Hmm.
it was really awesome though too, because after talking to my sister about it, she's like, "You're gonna need some breaks." And so I was like, "Of course, you're right. I can't
Yeah.
do it 12 hours straight." So I got some of my favorite creators and some of my family. I come from a very creative, artistic family, so I had a lot of them. So everybody kind of did like commercials for me, like 5 to 20-minute commercials. We had live DJ, there was poetry, spoken word, all kinds of different things. Yeah, so it was awesome, and it kind of just kick-started this, because the goal was for me is to raise money for my business, of course, and it did. It kind of just got things rolling, and then with on top of the Black Lives Matter movement, my business has been the busiest it's ever been.
Wow.
It's kind of slowed down a little bit here and there, but I'm still like I'm pretty swamped, and it's a good thing. I feel so grateful. You know, I'm a little overwhelmed sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but it's great.
Yeah, you know, it's great. And of course, that 12-hour online festival was really, as you said, kickstarted a lot of things for you, and you got a lot of business out of that. So,
I did.
you know, I thought when you said you were talking to your sister, I thought maybe you got her as a body double in there for part of it. And I thought that would be a good trick.
We kind of look like twins. People think so it could have worked.
Oh, that's great. And is she into the color also? Is she like a...
No.
She's not.
We're
Isn't
like,
that funny?
We're exact opposite. Although she's been talking about possibly getting some purple hair or something, but I was like, no, you get a different color. I own purple. I'm just kidding. But
yeah, you got dibs on the rainbow. You and Nova got the rainbow.
Yeah.
Everyone else can find colors elsewhere. Now,
exactly.
Also, you've been busy raising money for a women's coalition in LA.
I have. So as part of the Black Lives Matter movement, I wanted to make sure that the message that I put out there was all Black lives matter, not all lives matter, all Black lives matter, because I noticed that there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of homophobia in the Black communities. And then of course, Black trans women have it the worst. And so I wanted to make sure that I pushed that message, and I wanted to do what I could with my, and that's my art. So right now, all of the artwork on my site that is inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement or the LGBTQIA, so my drag queens and things like that, 20% of all my sales goes to the Unique Women's Coalition in Los Angeles. And every quarter, every 4 months, every 3 months. My brain's not working.
Every quarter would be every 3 months. Yeah.
3 months. There you go. Thank you.
I had trouble working out how old your daughter was when you said she was born 2.5 years ago. So I'm not the person to ask.
Math has never been my strong suit. My mom's probably shaking her head right now in embarrassment. But yeah, every
artists,
3 months I do. Exactly. We do other things great. But yeah, so every 3 months I'm going to switch organizations, and I'll donate to a different organization that specifically helps LGBTQIA communities. Black and brown mainly.
Well, it's such a worthy cause now. I mean, there's so many worthy causes. Of course, Black Lives Matter, and also the trans. This documentary that came out recently, I saw it on Netflix with RuPaul, was one of the main subjects, just talking about the struggles of trans people, and it's kind of an extraordinary education that many of us otherwise wouldn't have had if it's not, if it hadn't been brought to light by the documentary and such else. And speaking of color, she has no color any. Oh, there you are. You disappeared for a moment. All the colors of the rainbow just disappeared.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem. As I said, you know what? We're artists. We're allowed to be creative and mess up. We go, oh, well, I'm an artist, so it's fine. So, okay,
no, what happened is I charged my phone before I'm having to plug my headphones in, so it's dying. My phone is dying.
Oh, okay. Well, no problem. I can hear you somewhat. I'm going to have to turn my speaker up, but can you get a little closer to the device so we can hear you a little better?
Yes. How's that? I apologize.
No, that's actually great. That's actually great. Perfect frame. It was funny, the screen went completely black for a moment, and I thought, oh boy, we've lost you. I'm going to have to...
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Well, I'm so happy. So now, the other thing I have to ask you is about your music. Do you ever play music anymore?
Well, I I know I don't know why I'm hesitating on this. I do sing. I'll sing in my studio to myself, and I've been singing a lot more since my dad passed away. He was a singer, and so I've been kind of focusing on that. And I'm hoping, I have a very, very talented first cousin that I've recently connected with, who is a producer, a very talented producer in Atlanta. And I am hoping that he and I will be able to work together and produce an album. So I have not given up on music, is what I'm saying.
Great. Great, because I was wondering when you said you moved to Nashville to become a painter, I was like, it's a little backwards, because so many people go to Nashville because of the music, and you're like, I'm quitting music, I'm going to Nashville. Like, okay. Yeah. But that's great, and so you're going to rekindle that. It sounds like you as an artist, you go through different phases where you're working on fashion for a long period of time, then you work on painting for a while, and then you go to music, and then I guess you put the other things aside. When you were writing your children's book, now I know you said that it took you 10 minutes to write, which is extraordinary, but how long did it take you to illustrate?
It took me a month.
Wow, that's pretty good, because you know, I always think when you have a children's book writer and an illustrator, I always think the illustrator gets the raw end of the deal, because the writing is just like, oh, 5 lines per page, and then the illustrations, so much work.
Well, but the illustrator, like if you go through a regular publisher, the illustrator gets paid more.
See, I did not know that. I did not know that, but that information really isn't much good to me, because I'm no fine artist. I'm actually terrible. And so your new book, so your first book was called Nova's Boots?
Nova's Pink Boots. Nova's Pink Boots. Mm-hmm.
And the title of the book you're working on right now is?
The book I'm working on is called Not Every Color is Pink, Nova.
That's great. So all your children's book really is, they're just going to have Nova in the title, and hopefully there'll be more than pink, right? Hopefully the rainbow will evolve into your writing.
Absolutely, I think so. Well, the rainbow is in this current one because she's learning her colors, so that's a good thing. But my goal actually because I own a publishing company, and my goal is to add on other artists, illustrators, and authors. Like, I wanted my own, that's going to take time. And I want to tell, stories of LGBTQ families and Black and brown kids, and, just to be a very inclusive brand that kind of tells the stories of underrepresented people.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I guess we can find out about that on your website? Yeah, yes. So Timmery.com is your website. Yeah, we're having some technical issues, but that's the joy of going live. Things are freezing up a little bit on your end and my end, but we're still communicating, and we've pretty much run out of time anyway, so it's probably time to draw to a close, but we can learn so much more about you at Timmery.com, and we can follow you on Instagram at My Name is Timmery, and when COVID is over, you'll be right here painting my walls so people can come around and visit you here at my house.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Well, it's so wonderful chatting to you, Timmery. And
you as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Well, it has been great. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Okay, so that was Timmery. I think we actually got out of that interview in the nick of time because things were freezing. I wasn't sure what either of us were saying, if it was transmitting, but what a great interview, and pleasure to talk to her. Thank you so much, Timmery. And how inspiring is her work in all its colorful and wonderful incarnations. So do check out Timmery at Timmery.com, and also you can follow Timmery. And what an incredible Instagram. Very colorful, very beautiful, very interesting. You can follow her on Instagram at My Name is Timmery. And moving on, we have some fantastic guests tonight, as I said, and our featured musical artist is Billy Kennedy. He's a singer-songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, and a producer from Cork City, Ireland. He began his career as a singer-songwriter after moving to London in his early 20s, where he formed the blues rock band Godot, or Godot as it might be pronounced in this part of the world. After moving back to his native Cork, he formed a band called the Horsies, a truly fantastic indie pop band that quickly amassed a loyal family around, a loyal following. You see, I think family because my family is in Cork City, and me and my family used to see that band. That's where I first saw Billy play live. And, they went on to, they went beyond the local Cork people and scored a couple of radio hits. And then in 2012, Billy released his first solo album called This Old Life, which was very well received and reviewed. In fact, the Evening Echo, which by the way is a legendary newspaper in that part of the world, described Billy's songs as having a gentle poetic sensibility. And popular DJ Neil Prendeville described the 10-track album as one of the best things around. Billy's live performances have given him the opportunity to open for international acts such as Donovan, or Donovan as we might say in this part of the world, Donovan, Godot. Gotta have your bases covered these days. We call this segment, we should actually call this segment Waiting for Billy instead of Waiting for Godot. I know the introduction is kind of long, but he's really done a lot, both as a musician and a producer. He's produced records for quite a number of artists, in fact, including Branka Bojovic, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, the popular Slovenian singer, and she and Billy have performed together in both her native Slovenia and also in Bosnia, where they appeared at Festival of the Sun in Sarajevo. He also happens to be a qualified baker, a vegan chef, a nutritional therapist, although he's not practicing that right now. He has a degree in English literature and Hispanic studies, as well as a master's in drama and theater. As I said earlier, it's a very exciting day for us to have Billy Kennedy on Songs and Sit-Downs today, because today, as I said, August 3rd, marks the release in Ireland of his brand new single, Giants, and we're absolutely delighted and honoured to not only have the opportunity to introduce you to Billy Kennedy tonight, but also to present the North American premiere of a clip from his newly released single. Here, ladies and gentlemen, in a very first look on this side of the Atlantic, is a clip from Giants by Billy Kennedy.
And standing on the shoulders of giants, I can see the way is clear. Never trust a man of science when he's selling you a war. And call me home when your arms are ready, and wrap them around my skinny soul. Then lay me down where the ground is waiting, and see something nice, say something nice.
And please welcome Billy Kennedy.
Hey.
Hello, Billy Kennedy. How are you?
Hi, Owen. I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Great. Well, it's great to see you now. What time is it in that part of the world? I'm just looking. It's 7:43 here.
It
So-
is 3:45 in the morning, a.m.
3-4. Wow. So
Even
basically,
I'm
you
in bed
now
now.
you've had a long day because there was the release of your single, and I know you've done some other interviews, and you very kindly agreed to come on the show tonight and stay up until after 4 in the morning. I assume you don't live alone.
No, I don't.
And
my wife is here, and my dog, and my mother-in-law is in bed, so I hope I don't wake her up.
so hopefully she'll sleep through it. Now,
We'll see.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, I'm so happy your wife is there. Do say hello from all of us, and thank her for also staying up through the night to enjoy this with us. You're actually our first Irish guest on the show, and we're just delighted that you're joining us. I want to talk to you a little bit about your single, Giants. This one line that stood out, many lines in this, it was a very beautiful song, but one was like scraping reality off my shoes. Did I get that line right?
That's right. That's right.
I think there's a lot of that going on here. Is this because of current political events?
It is. I wrote that song during lockdown. And,
Ah,
you know, um, I was having a lot of trouble on Facebook. You know, I'd see interesting posts, saying vaccines are coming, or, people with conflicting opinions. And everybody was quoting scientists who all seemed to be contradicting each other hugely.
Yeah.
So it was a real conundrum. So I stayed away from social media and just started writing songs, and that's what came out. So
well, that's a good use of your time. And when you talk about science, I mean, that other line that stands out, never trust a man of science when he's selling you a war, like we have seen that a little too many times.
I'm afraid so. I was thinking of David Kelly there, the British scientist who was sent in to search for weapons of mass destruction and verified them in Iran that time. Turned out to be, false, the information that he gave to the public, So, the message is, if you want to know something, research it yourself. I do
Yeah,
believe.
and it seems interestingly that you wrote during lockdown. I'm sure, as many people know, Ireland is really going through much the same as what we're worse, with the lockdown in that the cases here are escalating. But Ireland had it under control for a little while, but now it's sort of slipping back to more cases. Is that correct?
Again, it depends on who you listen to. Our last Taoiseach, who our prime minister, in other words, just before he left office a few weeks ago, said that the way we were counting numbers wasn't accurate. So we don't know. My phone is just falling there. I assume
I'm
you can
just
still hear me.
laughing because this happened with Timmery too. There was just this black square, and with live, we say television, but live shows. This is actually pretty funny. With live shows, anything can happen. And thank you, Billy, for knocking over your phone, because that just proves to the folks that we are in fact live, and it is. About 3:45 or 3:47 at this point in the morning over there in Ireland. And so while Billy sets up his sets his phone back up again. So interesting, I'll tell you a little bit about Crosshaven, where Billy lives. It's not far from where I grew up, actually. I'm guessing maybe about 12 miles, and it's a beautiful ocean town. And where Billy lives, when we were doing the sound check, he brought his camera outside and he showed us, it was daylight at the time, the view that he has. And we've actually got a photo that we're going to put up maybe a little bit later there. It's just a beautiful part of the world. And it seems, Billy, you seem to be, other than the, and there's the photo right there. So that's the view from your house, right?
That's my little patio. There we are. That is the mouth of Cork Harbour you're looking at there. And interestingly enough, second biggest natural harbour in the world. Okay.
Yeah. Billy, sorry, I'm just getting a note from Dolly. Could you get a little closer to the mic, or turn
Sure,
off? She's
yeah.
having trouble hearing you.
How's that, Dolly?
Oh, that's
Happy with that?
fantastic. Thank you, Billy. Thank
You can hear my dulcet tones, as they say.
Yeah,
But-
fantastic.
Yeah, there we have
So,
it. That's
It's
Cork
an interesting
Harbour.
harbour. Now, also from that view, and you told us this during the sound check, there was a
Mm-hmm.
ship out there some time ago.
That's right. It was the Titanic. It's the last stopping point of the Titanic back in 1912, isn't it? It stopped for 1.5 hours. Oh, for God's sake. Sorry. Oh, so sorry.
Oh
Let me
my
just get
God,
it.
this is the best interview ever. See, I have fun. I don't know, people might freak out when stuff like this happens, but I always have fun because it's just
We're gonna
part of
get a
being live.
different camera stand is over there.
Well, we have a different camera style in Ireland. Yeah, that's right. Over there, we just throw the cameras around. It's kind of fun. Well, the
I'm just gonna
Titanic.
hold it like this.
We'll get back to you, Billy, when you're set up. But the Titanic apparently stopped right outside Billy's house in 1912 to let some passengers off, and then it headed out to the Atlantic towards New York, and it stopped again. Well, you might have heard that part of the story. Kind of sad. And then he was also telling us that the Lusitania was sunk not far, like maybe less than 10 miles from where he is right now. So if he ever invites you to his place, don't go sailing.
Okay. So I hope you can see me now. I'm really sorry about the camera there, people.
No problem, Billy. We're having a lot of fun here. That's great. That is actually a great shot of you. So I want to go back.
Yeah,
So there.
I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about Cork Harbour, just while you have that, while you had a picture up. Look, I look even better now.
Yeah.
So, the Titanic stopped there for an hour and a half, took on its last passengers before it went on its fatal leg of the journey. Okay. So then just 10 miles further in that shot where you can see the Lusitania was torpedoed, and that was what brought America into World War One. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's the history there.
yeah. So there's a little bit of history there. Thankfully, better things are going on in that area right now. It's now let's just go back to talk a little bit about giants. It's interesting and very brave. I always admire songwriters who write a song and then record it quickly. Like if I write a song, I got to sit with it for a very long time before I record it and more so release it. I got to make sure that I'm comfortable with it like a year later. But you just wrote this song, you recorded it, and you just put it out.
Kind of. I did it at the start of lockdown, which was really March. So you're talking 3 months ago, really.
Right.
And I have a recording studio at home, so that was easy for me to do. I did send it off to one of my producer friends to run his eye over it, and but I liked my version of it, and it was fine. I was halfway through recording an album anyway, so this is now going to be on it.
That's great. And is that album coming out in September still? I know it's planned for September, but
that album was supposed to be in September. Okay, and I'm going to move my phone on. I'm just going to put on a stand here.
Yeah, no problem.
It's going to be okay.
Of course.
Yeah, let me see.
I think I might have messed you up when I got you to move closer to the mic. That's great. Now
I'm
that is your best angle, Billy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's great. Now I mightn't be looking straight at you when I'm talking, but I'll try. Okay.
No, yeah, that's fine. We'll go with that. It's actually a really good shot of you. It's a freeze frame right now, but we can hear you. So let's just go with that. Never trust a man of science, as you said in your song, but never trust a man who's using an iPhone as a camera. We'll put that there too. Now, so you produced it at home in your home recording studio, and
that's right.
I read that you actually played all the instruments.
I did, yeah. It's so weird, right? Now I'm going to apologize. You're going to lose my picture for a while, but you'll hear my voice, okay?
Yeah.
So I played all the instruments because when you're producing other people's music, you're sitting down and going, I hear violin on this. God, where's the nearest violin player? Could take 2 weeks for somebody to come. So over the years, I just started picking up other instruments and playing. I'm not a master of any of them, but I can chip away on lots and lots of different instruments. So it saves a lot of time and energy in the studio,
And it actually comes across very well. It doesn't sound like there was any deficit in the playing or the arrangement due to the fact that you had to play all the instruments, being that you're locked in that one room. So the room that you're in right now is basically where you recorded the album.
That's it, and made the video. If for instance my camera was working, you'd see it's the same room as the video. I made a video on this very phone that I'm having trouble with right now.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It's because I recognize it even from the picture there. I can see, and you had a piano in the background, and you even used the camera to run across the hammers of the piano, which is very creative, and you're sitting in different parts of the room. So really a homegrown video. Anyway, so a lot of instruments you said that you tip along with, but you started off with the ukulele. Is that right?
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was about 10, I was in school, I learned how to play ukulele, and my teacher at the time was a radio presenter. and he got the national broadcaster down to the school to record the ukulele ensemble, which was great fun. And then I heard it, went home and heard it on the radio, listening with my parents, and it was just so exciting. I was
Wow.
totally hooked on performing ever since then, really. But I didn't get around to actually becoming a performer until my early 20s, really. Life
Yeah, well,
gets in the way, doesn't it, Ron?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I really had much the same journey as you in that I was somewhat of a late starter when I started writing my own songs. What about the band? You started basically writing songs and performing with the band in London. That was the band I mentioned earlier, I believe, Godot.
That's right, Godot, yeah.
Yeah.
Named very pretentiously after a Samuel Beckett play. So I bought all the guys a copy of the play and told them to read it.
Well, that's certainly an early 20s kind of thing for somebody to do. But it's funny, as I said in my introduction, over here we would say Godot, but
That's right.
originally it's pronounced Godot, so it's kind of like we should call this one Waiting for Billy's Camera.
Waiting. Everybody's going to really wonder what I'm look like,
But luckily it freeze framed and a really good shot of you. Now also that band, so you guys did pretty well in London considering you were on the South London scene, but you also had some sponsorship from WEM Audio. I mean, that's a dream for a band. How did that come about?
Well, how it came about? All of these things happen they're all happy accidents, I think. I'll just tell you, I was playing some guitar at a party one time, and these guys saw me, so they rang me up and asked me if I wanted to join a band, and I just happened to have a load of songs. Okay, so that's how Godot came about. So we started playing. We played our first gig. We had 350 people at it, which is quite a lot for a first gig,
That's
And
extraordinary.
It is. And one of the guys that was there was a drummer for, I think, Gene Vincent, with the old 50s rocker.
Yeah.
And he had all of these contacts. So he got onto WEM, which was an audio company, and they provided our PA system for us. So it was just really all those happy accidents happen. So
Wow.
when you're
Fantastic. And then you ended up getting a residency, I believe, at the Half Moon Herne Hill,
Yeah.
which is pretty amazing. Like that went on for like a year or something. So for a guy in his early 20s to go over to London and then just be playing guitar at a party and then all that stuff started to happen, obviously you were destined. Billy, before you comment on that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to log you out, my friend. So on your end, if you can log out and log back in, that might actually fix the problem. But I implore you, don't log out and then just go to bed because it's 4 a.m.
No, I tell you, just for your listeners, I'm up since 6 a.m. As you know, my record came out today, and I've been going non-stop. So I apologize.
Oh, no, don't apologize at all. We're delighted. I mean, you've been going nearly 24 hours and you've decided to end this long day of interviews and promotion with us. So thank you, Billy. So get lost, but come back very quickly, and that should fix the problem.
See you very shortly.
Okay, and at this point, I should mention that, we do have a tip jar, and if you put something in the tip jar, then that's fantastic. I think Dolly often says something to the effect of, tips are like hugs without touching, and because we can't really touch at this point because we're all so socially distanced. And the other great one is that tipping is not for cows. And of course, we should say, being humanitarians, tipping is not for cows either. But a special thank you to these folks for the tips last week. Look at this. System Design Decisions. Thank you very much, System Design Decisions. I think I'm saying that. System Design Decisions. And Michael Russo. Very kind. Thank you. And so anyway, I should tell you also, Billy Kennedy's album is coming out, as I said, in September. I think he's still on track for that. And it's called Rescue Dogs. I believe he's actually got an affinity for animals. He's a vegan, and he's a champion of a lot of the greyhounds that are actually being treated badly at the greyhound track in Cork City. I know the greyhound track myself because I grew up in Cork City, and people would say, instead of saying going to the racetrack, they'd say, I'm going to the dogs. And it's kind of funny the first time, where's Jack? He's gone to the dogs because he's at the racetrack. But of course, it's come out in recent years, as it has here, in Santa Anita with the horses, that it's really tough on the greyhounds. And Billy, we met his whippet earlier when we were doing the sound check, and that's also a rescue dog. And so it's something that's very close to his heart, and he's very passionate about. And so Rescue Dogs is the new album that's coming out in September. And his first album, This Old Life, as I said, came out in 2012. And Billy, did you move to a different part of the house, or is it just a different angle?
Okay, so I'll tell you what I've done. I've stopped using my camera as a phone. I'm using the laptop camera, which isn't as good, and the lighting is different. So,
well,
you just have to imagine me in a better light.
Yeah, we've seen you in a better light, and actually, this one's better. I'm just kidding. You're going to sound great, and that's the most important thing. Actually, Billy, if you wouldn't mind, without knocking anything over, I'm afraid to actually ask anything of you at this point, because I know you've been up for 20 plus hours. Maybe if you can, could you tip the laptop a little, or if your wife is there, maybe she could tip it there a little for you. Yeah. Tipping is not just for cows; it's for laptops, apparently. So. Oh, that's great. And we can see your lovely orange hair. Now, is that your natural color?
Yes, I was auditioning for The Simpsons. I had to,
Wow.
Yeah, okay. So,
it's great.
Listen, I'm really sorry about all that.
Not at all.
I think we're okay now. Nothing
honestly,
can go
Billy,
wrong. Nothing else can go wrong.
Said he. It makes it more exciting for us and for our viewers. And as I said, we're just delighted. Sure. You're the only person that stayed up in the middle of the night. We had one guest from across the Atlantic some weeks ago, David Nathan, who was a fantastic guest. We went to London to talk to him, but we pre-recorded because who could you ask to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to talk to the likes of us? But you very kindly agreed to do it, and we do appreciate that. And Billy, even though you've been up for several hours, if you don't mind, I'm going to turn it over to you now and ask you to do a song. It's up to you what you're saying. I mentioned your album, This Old Life, from 2012. I actually have a copy of that album, and I've listened to it numerous times. Also, it's on Spotify. At least it was. Is it still on Spotify?
It's on Spotify, but it won't be for much longer because I'm leaving that platform, actually. Yeah. And a lot of Irish artists are doing that as well. I'm going to go with Bandcamp and just my own website.
Fantastic. And we'll talk about that a little later because you've actually been doing well using your website. And I think a lot of the people viewing who are artists also could learn from what you've been doing. So we're going to quiz you about that. But, you know, before the roof falls down or something falls on your head, we're hoping to get a few songs for you. And as I said, that one of my favorite songs is the title track of that album, This Old Life. If you're open to doing that, it'd be fantastic. If you're not, I don't want to cause any waves in your house in case those cups behind you, fall over and knock you to the floor on the day of your single release.
I would be honored to do that. That's from 2012.
Great
title track of my album. So I'll see. I think I remember it.
Yeah, and you know what else? There's actually a video online that I found just the other day of you doing it on a balcony on Balcony TV. And,
that's right.
And what I noticed about it is how easy the guitar work is for you. That's just something I notice about musicians now. Sometimes, like if they're comfortable, how long they've been playing. Anyway, I can ramble on, but I'm scared something's going to fall, so I won't. Ladies and gentlemen, so excited to hear the wonderful Billy Kennedy.
Thanks, Owen. She fell out of bed, woke up and said, thought I could fly. See my book of dreams, I think it means we'll be all right. This old life driving me mad, driving me on. This old life driving me mad, driving me on, driving me on. She's got many names, none are the same, all of them right. She can only be who she must be, not who she might. This old life driving me mad, driving me on. This old life driving me mad, driving me on, driving me on. She is not confused if she's not amused, she's not alive. But who would be her clown, disguising a frown with pan stick and light? This old life driving me mad, driving me on. This old life driving me mad, driving me on. This old life driving me mad, driving me on, driving me on. All right, that is This Old Life. So from my 2012 album, like I said, and that's an old song. I rarely play it. So I thought if I was going to play a couple of songs on that, I'm going to play something old and something new. And this is a new song, and it's called A Nobody's Girl. And this will be on my next album, which is called Rescue Dogs. It'll be out at the end of September. So let's see how this goes. You were sad, alright, you spent all night at the station in your wedding dress with the coal up to your feet. You ran from the city hall, you ran through the city lights, looking for somewhere to hide. In shop windows you don't see love's reflection, just a sign saying be electric blue. And you were reading the dark girl's rhyme, you're crying at breakfast time, eyes down to avoid a fight. Well, I knew you, well, I knew you, and I knew you when you were a nobody. I knew you when, I knew you when, I knew you when you were a nobody's girl. Uh-huh. A nobody's girl. Uh-huh. And you called happiness life's great illusion, and that's the past and you're not going there, 'cause now you're doing good, alright. You're spinning like a satellite, and nothing's gonna stop you on your way. Well, I knew you, well, I knew you when, I knew you when you were a nobody's. I knew you when, I knew you when, I knew you when you were a nobody's girl. Uh-huh. A nobody's girl. Uh-huh. And now you're doing good, alright, and you're spinning like a satellite. Oh yeah. Well, I knew you when, I knew you when, I knew you when you were a nobody's. I knew you when, I knew you when, I knew you when you were nobody's girl. And nobody's girl. And nobody's girl. Well, that was called, as you probably guessed, A Nobody's Girl, from my new album coming up. And if I can, I'll play you one more song. And I'm going to set this song up and tell you a little bit about it. This song is set back in a day before mobile phones or internet or anything like that. I was living in London in the late 80s, and one time there was a knock on the door, and it was a friend of mine, and she had hitchhiked all the ways from Marbella to Rosslare or to Roscoff, right across to London. And if you're not familiar with hitchhiking, it's sticking your thumb in the breeze and asking a stranger for a lift. So pretty amazing thing to do for a girl, even back in those days. So I thought it deserved a song, and this is called Take Too Much to Heart. Okay. Running to be free on the Spanish border. She's not alone. She's in my thoughts, and she has the road before her. Her past is close behind. Driving to the sea in a big blue Opel, with the tears she's cried, she could feel the ocean like the wave she's rolling, and tumbling blue and free. Turn the wind around, it's blowing through your memory. Can you feel the ground you're standing on is trembling? You only fall apart when you take too much to heart. And your eyes are blue. Somebody dragged your heart around. And what good will running do when every time you stop, loneliness tracks you down? Passing telephones with no one to call up, and it's not her fault. She feels so much, and she holds her heart up proudly and reveals it to the world. And turn the wind around, breeze blowing through your memory. Can you feel the ground you're standing on is trembling? You only fall apart when you take too much to heart. And your eyes are blue. Somebody dragged your heart around. And what good will running do when every time you stop, loneliness tracks you down? You take too much to heart. You take too much to heart. You take too much. That was You Take Too Much to Heart.
That was beautiful, Billy.
Thanks, Owen.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And do I understand that was written back in your London days?
Yeah. Did you notice I didn't break anything
Wow,
there,
you know,
Owen?
It's the first time we were expecting something broke, but you got through 3 songs and nothing actually fell.
Nothing
it was
fell.
amazing. I think we might have some photos of your band actually, if Dolly has them there, of Godot or Godot. Okay, so that's you
Yes,
and your
that's
band.
me. Oh my God! Look how young I look. That's me in the band. That's in Herne Hill, a Half Moon in Herne Hill. It was an amazing venue. Yeah.
Wow, that's where you had the residency
London
for a
was
year?
thriving back then for blues rock kind of bands, and we're very fortunate to meet a guy called Benny King, and he was sound engineer. He started off as an assistant to Glyn Johns, who's a really, really famous producer. And he worked with the Rolling Stones and Peter Gabriel and other people. At the time, he was going through a difficult period in his life and he needed some fun, so he latched onto this young rock and roll band to party with us. And he used to do our sound, and he ended up recording an EP for us. It was really cool. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And then when you came back home to Cork, you formed the band, which I remember this band. I used to actually see you, a band called
Horses, yeah.
The Horses, right? Oh my God, talk about looking young there. You look like you're 12.
Don't I?
You do. And then the color picture that we had just after, that's
I
you
look
and the
14
rest of the
there.
Horses
I'm
band,
12 in
right?
the last one. That's us there, the Horses. That's Tali. She was a singer. I was the songwriter. I wrote all the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did good. You know, we had bit of success on the radio and stuff, and we played a lot of music. But Tali, the front person, left. So then there was no point in carrying on the band. There was time, you know, to move on and do different things. At that stage, I'd been through a few bands that were near having a lot of success, but then somebody would leave or something would happen. So I decided going solo, at least I'd be in charge of my own destiny then, you know. Yeah.
Right, I think that's the way to go. But I think people of my era, and I guess your era, would remember the Horses band very fondly around Cork City, because I think, didn't you have a regular gig at the Everyman
We had
Palace
lots
bar?
we were playing all the time, and I think one of our greatest achievements, believe it or not, was we made a music video, and we made it on 16mm film. And back then, you had to send a film to London by post to
Yeah.
get developed. You couldn't get it done in Ireland, you know. It was,
Yeah.
and it was a really exotic thing to an unsigned band to make their own video. So we got that on national TV a few times, and that was a lot of fun, you know. I was always kind of proactive like that. Okay, we need a video. Let's just make it happen somehow.
Yeah.
And
And was that for your single Being There?
That's right. Do you remember being there? It was
Well, I do, and also I remember hearing it on the radio, and
yeah.
also we have uncovered that video, and we're going to play it actually a
Are
little
you
bit later on.
serious?
So I'm so glad you
Okay.
brought it up. So it was shot on
Great.
16 mil. I had no idea.
Yeah,
It's wow.
it
That's
was.
kind of it looks really cool. So you guys did that, and then you had a hit also with a Cyndi Lauper cover, right? Wasn't it? Is it True Colors?
Yes, True
Yeah.
Colors, and that was just guitar and vocal, but it became one of the most requested songs of the year on radio. So that was great.
Yeah, and you had a lot of local fans. Like if I remember seeing you that time I saw you at the Everyman Palace, there were people that just shuffled in, and even though it could have been a noisy bar, people were listening, and you were doing a healthy balance between your originals and your covers. I think at that time, you know.
Yeah, we do. I think we all originals with the Horsies.
Yeah.
But one of my thrills was going to the local record store and seeing, looking up the H section, and you see Whitney Houston, and then you see the Horsies, and I was going, oh yeah, we're in good company here. You know, when
Oh,
you're a
I
kid, you
love
do
it.
those kind of things, like, you know.
Yeah, and then your recent work with Branka, and I know I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Bauzic?
Bosic, yeah.
Bozic.
Yeah, Branko's a
Bozic.
Slovenian
Okay. So
singer and
Branka
TV
Bozic.
presenter. Mhm.
Yeah, so you became a producer for her as well as her guitarist?
It is, yeah. It's funny. She was there. She is. She was passing through Cork in Ireland, and she wrote a song, and she wanted to record it straight away. So somebody rang me. So she came down with a fiddle player, and they recorded the song with just fiddle and voice, nothing else. And I put a lot of traditional instruments behind it, like bodhrán, and I got my brother to play the bodhrán on it actually, and put some bass and some guitar in it, and she loved it. So she came back, and she was halfway through an album, so she came back and recorded the rest of her album in my house in Cork. So I did
Wow.
produced half her album. So then, very kindly, she brought me over to Slovenia for the launch of it, and that was in an opera house there. You could see it, was all the from the picture. And ever since we played together, if she's got any, you know, kind of any opportunity, she'll bring me over to play guitar for her. And some of the standout ones were, say, the Pyramids, or the Festival of the Pyramids in Bosnia 2 years ago now, I think. Most people don't know that there are pyramids in Bosnia, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's 3 really big pyramids that they uncovered, and they haven't been excavated yet. So one of them is bigger than the Great Pyramid in Egypt. So, you know, it's yet to be kind of all. So the man who discovered them, he's an archaeologist. He started running this festival. So it was really interesting to go to Sarajevo, which is an amazing city, with an awful history of violence, unfortunately.
Yes.
It's quite a distressing place to go, but to go there and play music was a very kind of healing thing. And
Yeah, I would think so. Now something else about you that not a lot of people know probably. You when you left school first you did an apprenticeship as a baker, is that right?
I did, yeah. I'm
And you're
7th generation baker.
And I'm wondering, did I read that right? A 7th generation baker?
Yeah. Well, I've this cousin from Australia who I've never met, and he wrote to us. He's doing a family tree, and he sent me the family tree, and I saw that as far back as we can just determine. All the male Kennedys were bakers, which is crazy.
Wow.
My
Do you write songs about bread?
No. Well, interestingly enough, I wrote something about the baking industry, which I wrote a play about baking, involving baking, you know, a play script.
Well,
but no
because you know, being a
songs.
vegan chef, a baker, a writer, a great
Yeah.
guitarist, musician, songwriter, it's not enough. You have to write a play too. I mean, you and Timmery, I think we finally found a match for each other.
That's
And so
right.
you wrote
Yeah.
a play about the baking industry.
Could you imagine me and Timmery on the same show, things falling and clicking and
I know. You know what? It's been fun because we've had a smooth couple of shows. And so we've kind of been due one where things, you know, things go a little awry. But it's not over yet, Billy. More things are happening. And I know you spent some time in Dublin too. And you shared the stage with some interesting people. And of course, Donovan, or Donovan, as we say in our part of the world, is somebody you worked with also. I believe you opened for him. And didn't you get a play with him
did.
at one time?
Yeah, I'm. There he is. He's playing my Strat there, my Stratocaster.
Oh, that's hilarious. So that's him with your guitar.
He is.
You, you know what?
I'm.
Has that upped the value of the guitar? Because Kurt Cobain's guitar sold recently. The one he played on the MTV special sold for $6 million. So has
Really.
Donovan like added some value to your guitar?
I Interestingly, that guitar I gave it to my niece. Okay,
Yeah.
and she is considerably younger than me, and she ended up being a songwriter. And would you believe she wrote a song with Donovan about 2 years ago and put it on her album? Isn't that mad?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now, I'll tell you
Well,
the connection. Yeah, my brother was Donovan's guitar tech for a while, so
I
that's how we
see.
all got to know him.
Right, and so then your niece ended up with your guitar that Donovan had played before, and then ended up writing a song with Donovan that's on her album.
Isn't that mad? Yeah.
Wow,
That's crazy. But
that
the
that
world is
is
small.
that is fantastic. Well, Billy, we have kept you up till close to 4:30 in the morning now, and we'll keep you up a little bit longer. Just
Yes.
stay with us if you like till the end of the show. We just have a
course I
small
will.
bit more to go. We'll have some announcements, and of course, we'll be checking out your Facebook lives that we can find on your Facebook page, right? Billy Kennedy Music.
That's right. That's right. Billy Kennedy Music, or my website has got all my details on it. Before I go, I'd really like to thank you and Dolly and JJ for giving me an opportunity to chat to you guys. It's been really nice, and I really like your show. I've watched a few of them now. They're really, really good fun. So I hope
Great.
this one doesn't go down as unique for me
Well,
breaking things or
for
anything.
reasons of things falling over. Well, no, it's just a joy to have you, Billy, and we're as I said, we're just delighted that
Mm.
you stayed up, especially on the day of your big single release, and I know you're getting airplay over there as well. And
Yes, I am.
just congratulations with all that's going on, and it's been a pleasure having you. And honestly, for me, it's entertaining when such things happen. I'm waiting for the next thing to fall over. I've been disappointed the last 15 minutes nothing has fell.
I really don't mind things that are happening. That it's I've done a lot of live kind of stuff over the internet, and some things bound to go wrong somewhere. It's normally a connection dropping or something that.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny? I came across one of your Facebook videos, as I was saying to Timmery. I get an opportunity to stalk people the week of
Yeah.
the show, the guests, and it's joyous for me to discover all these things about people. And
Yeah.
I came across one of your Facebook Live videos, and I know you've done a number of them now because you're doing, you're basically doing, are you doing 2 a week at this point?
I definitely do every Thursday, and then
Okay.
if my neighbors ask me enough, I'll do a Saturday as well.
Oh, okay, because your neighbors basically come down and they listen while you're doing the
do.
Facebook Live
They
stream.
stand outside, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? And also we get to see that beautiful view in the daylight
Yes.
when you do it too, because it stays bright till, is it still up till about 10:30 or 11 at night?
About 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Wow,
about
that's
10
amazing.
o'clock.
Well, one of the videos I saw, you're playing, and then like a hat and sunglasses appear on your head, and then like
That's
2 minutes later they disappear again, and then they come back, and then what was that?
I'll tell you, that was crazy because when I'm playing, I go live on Facebook, and then I play. I don't look at comments or anything. I just play.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize Facebook Live have this option now where you can put bunny ears or glasses or stuff.
Right.
These cartoon things like they have in Snapchat. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I'd pressed the button
Yeah.
that gave me sunglasses and a hat. I'm just really grateful I didn't give myself bunny ears or something like that.
Oh my God. So through the whole gig, because I thought it was a good look. I was like, oh, hat and glasses, musician sitting there. Oh, and that's a place you play, right? And there's the view. Wow, look at that.
That's my band and my front garden. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's great. It was very cool. Well, we'll check out your Facebook Live videos. They're still online, and every Thursday night, which would be early in the morning, our time on Friday. But you've stayed up till 4 for us, so we should actually do the same thing for you. That'll be about 4 a.m. for us, right?
Yeah. So you never know. You might stumble across one sometime. It'll
Yeah.
be
Oh
always
no,
nice
actually,
to
I'm
learn
wrong
looking.
because you're ahead. It's actually about midday for us. So
Oh,
we
well,
have no.
you have no excuse. So
We
like,
have
I
no
expect
excuse.
the whole of
Midday on
California to be looking
Thursday.
in.
We got to tune in. Well, Billy, it's just been fantastic chatting to you. Thank you for being with us tonight, and thank you for creating those disasters in your house in our presence. It's really been very entertaining, and just playing those beautiful songs And just, your guitar work on top of everything else is just out of this world.
Thanks, Owen. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much, Owen, and best of luck with the rest of the shows.
Thank you
you
so
very
much,
much.
Billy.
Greetings to
And
Margaret,
we're actually
everybody.
going to finish now with, as I said, I was a fan of your band Horses, and very sad that they disbanded, and actually very delighted to learn a little bit about the video that I've seen multiple times, that it was shot on 16mm. So we're going to finish now with a little bit of nostalgia and a little bit of history of Cork music and Ireland's music, and a great original band led by Billy Kennedy, the chief songwriter, vocals by Tally Murphy, and some wonderful local Cork musicians also playing on this, and I know you're going to love it. This is Horses, the band called The Horses, and the song written by Billy Kennedy is Being There.
When home's got a hold of your eyes and the glory of the night surrounds you, you don't have to look around or even speak to feel the heat between you and who said life wasn't fair. It's just been there. I never thought I had a lot to lose. I never thought I'd really care. Now everything I touch is turning good. All the things that you've prepared by being there. And you always meet the devil you don't know. He always seems to pin you down. I met him here this morning on this road. He told me he was leaving town, and I asked who said life wasn't fair. It's just been there. Your life, your life, your life, your life. You decided. Never thought I had a lot to lose. I never thought I'd really care. Now everything I touch is turning good. All the things that you've prepared by being there, being
Wow, so happy to share that with you. A song I remember from, well, my youth, some years ago, and that, of course, was Billy Kennedy's legendary band, The Horses, now unfortunately disbanded, but captured beautifully in a moment in time, Cork's music history, and really with the fabulous Tally Murphy on lead vocals, bringing Billy's original song, Being There, to life. Thank you so much, Billy Kennedy, for chatting with us, creating disasters in your house, knocking things over, and playing us those beautiful songs, and entertaining us with your antics, your camera, and just your great sensibility and personality. Very much enjoyed. And also staying up till 4 a.m., or actually at this point 4:30 a.m. where he is. So we're very grateful that he took the time to talk to us, to play for us on Songs and Sit Downs. And if you want to hear more of Billy Kennedy, visit www.billykennedy.ie. That's IE for Ireland, where you can find out about his live streaming shows, his upcoming album release, and more. Also, he's got a vegan cooking site if you want to check that out. Such an interesting chap. As we said before, all tips help support our musical artists and the hard-working team involved in putting on the show every week. So feel free to contribute if you feel the urge. But as always, we're most grateful you took the time to be here with us this evening. I want to tell you a little bit about the upcoming shows. Sunday, August 9th, that's this coming Sunday, just a week from yesterday, is the second Sunday Songwriter Series. And we're going to actually just have the open mic, so submit a video to the open mic and we will play it. It's really a great event bringing songwriters and musicians together. It doesn't have to be an original song, so don't be put off by the Songwriter Series. So if you'd like to submit a video, just go to divinerebelmusic.com/open mic. All the details are there. Then Monday, August 10th at 7 p.m. we'll be back here at Songs and Sit Downs. It's going to be another great one. Hopefully not too many things will be knocked over, but if they are, that's absolutely fine. We're going to be featuring Lee Ross, who's going to be our person of interest, and he is an interesting person indeed. He's a mime artist, so hopefully he'll be able to say something. He's got more than just being a mime artist, so he'll be a good person to chat to. He's also a stand-up comedian. He was one of the leads in a circus show that he traveled with for a few years. He's also a writer and producer, and he's got some feature films with I think one of them has Maria Bello in, but very, very interesting character. So we look forward to chatting to him. And our musical artists are the Rose Valley Thorns, and wow, what a band. They're from Ojai, California, and they are moving the bluegrass world forward with just their great harmonies, their original tunes, and they're also staying true to the traditions of bluegrass. And so it's really an amazing group that we have next week, and you will very much enjoy them, so please come back. Then the following Monday, Songs and Sit Downs, again we'll have Lionel Passamonte. He's a very interesting guy who's worked in entertainment his whole life, worked on music shows, TV shows, live shows, and he'll have many stories to tell, so it'll be good to chat with him. And our musical guest is to be announced. We have a couple of people in the works, so we'll see who will take that spot in a couple of weeks. And we want to thank everybody involved in the show who made this show possible. Thank you so much, Dolly and JJ, Jessica, and a big thank you to our very special guests, Timmery, and our musical guest, Billy Kennedy, all the way from Ireland, staying up in the middle of the night on the day that his single Giant is released. Thank you again, Billy. And of course, a big thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in. We really appreciate your joining us this evening. We're going to leave you now with our video of the week. And believe me when I tell you, it's a great one from one of my favorite local artists, Raspin Stewart. My introduction to Raspin was seeing him perform his original song, Rumbling and Tumbling, live at Ann Dixon's house in South Pasadena. It's probably a few years back. I was not only blown away by the song, but also by his performance of it. If you haven't seen Raspin yet or heard the song Rumbling and Tumbling, pretty sure you're about to experience the same sense of joy and awe that I did the first time I heard him perform it. Raspin also has a couple of CDs available online that are well worth checking out. We're going to play that video for you in just a moment, but first, we'd like to thank you once again so much for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again next Monday with another episode of Songs and Sit Downs. Till then, stay safe and be kind. This is Rumbling and Tumbling by Raspin Stewart.
Catfish are jumping, it's an impossibility. Someone's been rumbling and tumbling in my backseat. You tell me lies and you hold me tight. We go rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Through the night, book us a taxi. What do? I don't know, baby. I sold my new car, still got no revenue. So sorry, sure. Somebody loves you, but who knows who? Why we go rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Through the far and lost and lonely without a trace. You go rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling, set. Oh, rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling, what's it say? Rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling, what gets through the night? Whatever gets you through the night. Whatever gets you rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Say, baby, through the night. Tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Take it on. Skittle, round, 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 rumbling, tumbling, rumbling, tumbling. Beep, bap, bap.